Does this thing even work? Holy smokes. So starting the stream, guys, sorry about the little delay. Even though I'm actually almost on time this time. Weird. But I forgot I borrowed my chat monitor, which literally has everything that I use to manage the stream. That monitor, I borrowed that to service or test another PC because I needed a big screen and I needed something that was 1440p. And that's the only screen on my bench right now that's 1440p. So I had to borrow it. And it wasn't hooked up, so then I had to go climbing back behind all the crap to get it plugged back in so I could read chat while I was building. But welcome back to the Build Show. I know it's been what? Like about what? A week and a half, maybe? Maybe 2 weeks. Not been that long, has it? It's actually been nice because I've been recovering from this ever lingering bug. I don't know if you guys remember the last time I streamed, which this would be perfect for a video to blip back to the last stream where I was complaining about the same bug almost 2 weeks ago. I still have it. So now I have antibiotics and steroids in my system. Hopefully that helps a lot. And no, it has nothing to do with the image you saw earlier. That's a joke with DLSS. Everything just looks way better with DLSS on, right? Well, welcome back to the Build Show, Roy, Tony. Looks like we have a follow over there on the Twitch, iCryptics. Welcome to the Build Show. Also over there on Kick as well. Thank you for the follow on both the channels. So, the story behind what you see here. I actually can't remember the entire story because we've had several different conversations at different points in times. But I have the gist of what we're doing. What's up, Cryptics? Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. Or welcome to the Build Show. So this is a Dell Alienware. One of their uglier versions. They tried to get fancy by adding the glass, kind of glass-ish panel, which still has metal on it. I think this is actually plexiglass. Yeah, it's definitely not glass. It's plexiglass, but it looks like glass. And they also have this really nice ventilation for the graphics card, which I was actually impressed with. Dell actually took ventilation into consideration when they built this one. This case. So this case is actually not that bad. It just looks terrible. The looks of it is god-awful. I hated it. Other than the fact that they actually paid attention somewhat to airflow. So they got the two fans on the front. They got their 240 millimeter AIO on the top. And then they got the rear fan here. This is actually really good for airflow. What's bad for the airflow is you only have this little teeny tiny gap where basically my fingers, the thickness of my fingers, which are massive. No, they're pretty small fingers. But that is your airflow for your intake. So that's all your intake. So it was nice to have that extra breathing room for your graphics card on the ventilation on the side there. But that's mostly just passive. So that was the downside. So they made a beautiful case. They really worked hard on ventilation, and then they put this big ugly thing on the front and suffocated it again. It's not as bad as you think it is, but it still limits the amount of airflow that can get in here. So great job, Dell, on this case, but you just had to ruin it somehow. Is basically what I took out of this. Also, again, Dell continues to use their proprietary motherboards. They could have very easily used a standard micro ATX motherboard in this system. They did not have to go out and fabricate and create their own special motherboard just for this power. I don't understand why Dell continues to go their own route other than it's making them money. So that would be the only reason. Let's see here. Hey, what's up, John? Welcome back to the Build Show. Chat nerds, what's up? Welcome back. Let's see here. One Big Bang Theory, Sheldon's Alienware. Oh, the laptop. Yep. Back one was 6,000 US dollars. I actually owned back in the day an original non-Dell Alienware, but Alienware laptop, and that thing was ultra expensive. I remember it being somewhere north of like $3,000 or $4,000. It was like state of the art, and I was so, walking around school with that thing, showing it off, being the cool guy, showing up to LAN parties with it. It was the stuff. Like, if you had an Alienware back then, especially like a laptop, that meant, one, you had money, which I didn't. It was just me being a kid and getting my first credit card, and what the hell do I spend that on? Of course, an Alienware, something I've been staring at since I was like 12, drooling over. So, but anyway, it was a lot of fun. The older original Dell Alienware, which I do have, and not Dell Alienware, I keep saying Dell Alienware. I'm so used to saying Dell Alienware. The original Alienware, pre-Dell, I actually have a green one over here. You guys want to see it before we start this? You guys want to see an original Alienware, pre-Dell? I have one here. A desktop, too. Hey, what's up, Tony? Over there on the Twitch side, too? Nice, man. Is it in Area 51? I believe it is. It's like... It's when they got crazy with their cases. Right before Dell took over. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right, let's see it. All right, I'll show it off. You guys have seen it probably in the Discord at least once, because I like to show it off. So before we get started on this, yeah, got a little dust on it, but it weighs 1,000 pounds. But it is one of the original Alienwares, pre-Dell. Hell yeah! I don't even remember how to open this thing. But I mean, it is old school, man. I even got the, whatchamacallit on the back still. 51. Oh, yeah. The only problem with this unit is that I think the graphics card is bad, because I couldn't get any display out of it. And it's AGP. So I gotta find an AGP graphics card. And of course, if I'm gonna put an AGP graphics card in here, it's gonna be one of the best that was out during its time. The best AGP graphics card is going in this thing. When I find it, that's not like $800. But, I wonder if I can open this. Is it locked? No? Yeah. I can't remember how to open this thing. Can't remember if there's any extra screws I have to do. But it is, currently unlocked. Anyway, I've got the matching keyboard. I do not have a matching green mouse, unfortunately. We could not locate that. No idea what happened to it. That usually is typically the item that just vanishes. And then I've also got the documentation, which is the envelope that came with it. So it's like a collector's item, basically, at this point. And I want to keep it that way. And keep it nice. And eventually, if we have like a showroom, I want to have this in there running. So you could sit down and play some old school games on an original Alienware back from like 2003. Right? This would be 2003. 2003 or 2005, something like that. But, oh yeah, the original Alienware. Then, of course, like I said, I've got the matching keyboard and then the Alienware stuff that came with it. All of that's there. Pretty cool. 30-day money back guaranteed from Alienware. I remember when I bought mine came with a cool card. It had my engraved name on it and everything. But you get the next 12 issues of Computer Games magazine. You already paid. Now collect. Look at that. Wonder if I still could cash that in. Okay, back to the more modern Alienware. So the plan is tonight is we're going to remove the RAM, which he actually upgraded the RAM at some point. So that is not the original RAM that came from this unit. But we're going to pull the RAM. We're going to pull the CPU. We're going to reuse the graphics card, and I believe all of the SSD storage out of here. Then we're going to put that on a new motherboard. We're going to put the new motherboard in a new case. We have a new cooler. We have some new fans, a new power supply, and it's basically a case transfer plus some cooling upgrades and a power supply upgrade. Oh yeah, the green Alienware, definitely. Play some Half-Life 2 running on the green Alienware? Hell yeah. We could fire it up one day and see if it runs Crysis. I know, that's what I'm saying. So, you know, when you're like 18 years old or getting, you know, just get your first credit card, what the hell you do? You go buy your dream Alienware. Oysterhead, I've seen it in person. She's a beauty. Oh yeah, you have been here. At least once or twice. DEFCON, put wheels on it, and that could be a suitcase. Truly. A very heavy suitcase, yes. We could probably create a Dell Alienware, like 2000s pre-Dell suitcase. That would be kind of cool. Fabricate that. Ben, I have a GeForce 6600 somewhere, and that, but the 6600, wasn't that a PCIe card? Or did they release a AGP version? Because it's an AGP slot. I was actually going to go AMD, or not. I guess before it wasn't AMD. I was going to go ATI. It is an AGP card. Yeah, I couldn't remember if the 6600 came out with AGP. I think they came out both versions on that. That was the last AGP card, isn't it? Isn't the 6000? Isn't that like the last AGP card for NVIDIA series? After that, everything was like PCIe, if I remember correctly. Like the 7000 series didn't even touch. Yeah. Oh, dang. So that's probably one of the nicer ones outside of, I think I was, for the NVIDIA family, I was actually trying to find a 6800. And I think it was like 512 megabits of RAM. Megabytes. VRAM. I can't remember which one I was looking at. But that's, I think, the only problem with that machine. It fires up. I can see keyboard signal, but I don't get a display, and I don't have any AGP cards here anymore. Because I had a guy that liked retro gaming PCs, and he came in and he just asked me, hey, do you got some old parts? I'm like, yeah, I got a whole bunch of old parts. And he came over here and he found my box of AGP cards. And he's like, what do you want for this? And I'm like, I have honestly not touched them in years. So I pretty much gave him the box for like $10. And there was, I don't know how many AGP cards in there. And then later I found out how much they were worth, and I was like, oh man, that sucked. But it went to somebody who was geeked out about it, so I was super happy about that. It went to somebody who was really going to use them and enjoy them. He probably made some money on them too. But I think I had a 5000 series in there, a GeForce 50 something in there, 50 something, a couple of them actually, and I think I had a 6600, but I think that one was actually a PCIe card. It was just a box of all my like super old cards. Can you make the T500 the D drive for games and the OEM SSD the C drive? Yes, Cryptix, I could definitely take care of that for you. So you want the Crucial T500 for your D drive and the, sorry if you've been chatting, I've kind of missed a lot of chats there. You want the Crucial T500 as your D drive or secondary, and your OEM drive as the C drive. We could definitely do that. Not a problem. Oh, the GPU airflow hurts. The poor GPU doesn't deserve to tell case. Well, we're gonna fix that problem, Squeeze. We're gonna fix that problem. And welcome to the build show. Nice. The 6600 GT was a really nice card back then. It was like one of the best that you could get still for the AGP slot. Dylan, hey man, I want to play some easy to run games like Rocket League and Overwatch. Can you recommend a CPU and GPU for my price range for a whole build? It's $1,600. Well, if you're going to build it yourself, Dylan, $1,600 is actually a really good, decent budget. And you could probably get away with a nice 9600 if you wanted to stay in the or go in the AMD family, and get a B650 motherboard. You don't need like the B850, but you could go up to a B850 if you want a little bit more future-proofing on the board. But there's really not that big of a difference between the B650 and the B850 other than the price. So if you could get a B650 for really cheap, get that. Go with the Ryzen 5 9600 and your graphics card, if you want newest 5060 Ti, and then 16 gigs of RAM will get you started on anything like Rocket League or Overwatch or anything like that. You don't need 32 for those games, and honestly that's overkill with the CPU and the graphics card combo, but you'll get really good FPS with that combination. And you'd be right around 1600 with like a 1 terabyte SSD right now. Tony says, I was on AMD and ATI fanboy back then. I can't remember what my cards were. I changed them so much. I always ran 2.0 dice. Oh, because of the Crossfire. Crossfire and the PCIe SLI. I don't think SLI was super big back then, like that far back. Only if you had money. Thanks a lot, man. I just wanted someone's opinion who knows a lot. If you do go with the 5060 Ti and can swing it, go for the 16 gigabyte card, or if that's anywhere close to an RTX 5070, so do your homework before you buy it. Don't just blindly click on a 5060 Ti and purchase it. 5060 Ti 16 gig, if it's significantly like $150 less than a 5070, but if it's not, and you could swing the 5070, just go up to a 5070. And again, that's overkill for the games that you listed there. So you could get away with just doing a RTX 5060 and a 9600, and you would be perfectly fine. But you'd be pretty limited to 1080p. So getting into a 5060 Ti will get you 1440p performance, and future-proof it a little bit, and get you the ability to play some of the more demanding AAA titles if you wanted to. The 16 gigabyte 5060 Ti, so, or the 5070. That'll help. And they also have the DLSS, newer DLSS versions. Yeah, I have that in my cart. A 9060 XT before I asked. That's also a good card. So if it's more within your budget with everything else for the build, then the 9060 XT would be a excellent choice, especially the 16 gig version. Yep, and somebody actually over on the YouTube chat, Dylan, just brought up the other cards that you could take a look at. So something like a 7800 XT would actually be a good card to target and would be probably close to a 9060 XT, maybe a little bit more than the 9060 XT right now. But that would be probably more of a used card find. So you'd be taking a gamble on the used card purchase. Got it for 1400 before Apocalypse. 1400 new. Oh, you got this whole build here. Yeah, I actually couldn't tell if this was a 40, because I know we talked about it at some point, but I couldn't tell if it was a 4070 Ti or a 5070 or a 5070 Ti. I was kind of in between both. So I know we've been talking a lot, guys. Let's get started with this, shall we? The music is telling me we're supposed to be further along already. So what do you guys think? Is this going to be a good transfer? Do you know what case we're going into? Because I didn't share that. I didn't share anything outside of, we've got the i7 13th gen in here from Intel, and then we've got 2 SSDs that we're pulling, which he says is 3 terabytes in total, so I'm assuming it's a 1 terabyte OEM and a 2 terabyte Crucial secondary drive. And then we've also got the 32 gigs of DDR5 Crucial Pro RAM, which I think was 5600 megahertz, so nothing too crazy on the RAM. And then we're going to be pulling the graphics card, which is the 4070 Ti. It's a 3-fan card. It's really nice. Even though it's a Dell Alienware card, Dell Alienware does a good job. We are going to try and repaste this card before we put it in the new system. So we're going to extract the parts, we're going to prep the parts, and then we're going to put it on the new board and go through as if we're doing a brand new build at that point. So let's get started. It is not the Haven 420, even though I do have an HS 420 back here for another build coming soon. So we'll be building in that probably within the next couple of weeks with some super crazy customizations. I think you guys will get geeked out about that one. Hello, new here. I have a question. Maybe you could help over on the Twitch chat. What's up, Johnny? Welcome back to the build show, or welcome to the build show. First time. Hit me with your question. I went all NZXT like Brad. Yeah, Cryptix has got a lot of NZXT. So it's the H9 Flow by NZXT is the case that we're going to be building in. And then he's also got the Kraken Core 360 RGB cooler. That's a 360 millimeter AIO. Does not, it's all the RGB on it. He's got another set of 3 fans, which is the solid block. And then he's also got an NZXT power supply, which I think was an 800, or no, wow. Back my glasses into my microphone. 1000 watt, 80 plus gold, right? Yes, gold. And then he's also got the bracket and all that stuff. So, and new thermal paste. Yes. So we'll be doing NZXT. No, chat. No, nerds. I am not done yet. Not at all. No, I'm just getting started. Johnny says, I've never taken a graphics card out, and this is over on Twitch, guys, if you want to take a look at the question. I never taken the graphics card out, and I don't know how to take it off. The videos I see don't have the same thing as my computer. And how do I know what to click to press to take it off? I took the screws off, wires off, now it's just stuck to the motherboard. Okay, so every motherboard, and I can actually zoom in and show you this right here. Kind of cool that we have a computer with a graphics card in there that we're going to be removing anyway. So we're going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Hopefully nobody gets offended by that metaphor. This is a Dell case. This is going to be a little bit different, but the motherboard mechanism is pretty much going to be the same, but some motherboards have a little button. So I'll call that out and see if yours has the button. So kind of cool that we're live and we're going to be able to help this dude. So I'm undoing the power cable right here. And then this is a Dell thing, so you did not have to remove this. Your computer case probably didn't have this, or your build. So I've got the card free. Basically, I've done everything that you just mentioned, Johnny, is the screws are undone, the power cable's removed, and now I can't pull it from the motherboard. What's going on? So the answer is, oh, we're gonna zoom all the way in, boys. Don't worry, it cleans up. So I'm gonna kind of stand the build up just a little bit and see if we can see it down in there. But there is, hold on. Gotta move this out of the way. Maybe we'll get a good view at this, but there's going to be a little clip down there. You see where that stupid black wire is kind of blocking it? There's a clip right there. That clip pushes down, so I'm gonna zoom back out and try to show you what I'm doing with my hands. Sounds terrible, but hopefully you get what I'm saying. So I'm gonna take my finger, my index finger, and reach down there to that plastic clip, locate it, push it downwards towards the motherboard. And then while doing that, my other hand over here is going to wiggle the card kind of back and forth just a little bit, not too much, don't do it too much, and then it releases. So now that the card is out, I'll show you the mechanism bare bone and kind of show you what's going on so you understand it. This little clip here latches up, so when the card goes into the slot, this thing's face down and it locks the card in place. And what that's doing is grabbing the lip of this card right here, and the plastic is just going over the lip right here and holding it in place. That is all it's doing. If you yank on that, one of two things is going to happen. Either that plastic clip is going to break, which usually is the case, or this is going to break on your graphics card. And if this breaks on your graphics card will be dead. So do not try to just yank the thing out. It's a terrible idea. You don't want to break that. Your clip is the answer. So it's got a little bit of a lip. And I don't recommend trying to put a screwdriver down there because it's really easy to slide off that plastic and jab your motherboard. You could join the Discord. The link to the Discord, to get the link, it's just !Discord, and you'll get the Discord. All right, so if you don't have it, sometimes fancier motherboards will have a little spring-loaded connection over here that goes to like over here by your memory, and this board is going to be a little bit different than yours. So imagine that there's a little spring-loaded mechanism with a little button right here. If you push that button down, you'll feel a little springy button. Push that down and it should release the card. That's the other option if you have a higher end board. Actually, this board might have it. Now this is his new board. Let's see if his new board has that option. We could show that. It does not. So this board does not have that feature. Not saying that it's not a fancy board, because it's the Elite AX, which is actually a really nice board. It's like 6 years old. Even 6-year-old higher end motherboards had that. But that clip should be there. You just might not be able to see it very well. I smell Intel. Yeah, it's an Intel i7 3700 coming out of this. Was seeing a 1 terabyte NVMe for 150, so I think that's best to go with. What are you talking about, Bradley? Any recommendations for a good 1 terabyte NVMe's? 150 NZ. What is NZ? Is that like New Zealand? Okay. All right. Well, hopefully somebody can help you out over there in the Discord. You think he has the old school chip? All right. Thanks for helping out. Remote support. My name is Johnny. He's over in the remote support voice chat on the Discord, guys. And if anybody wants to go join in and listen to them, !Discord. I can actually go take a peek. I'm actually curious. We're gonna go check it out. Oh, not the Call of Duty LAN. Oh, yes, the old one, the old one. Yes, yes. John, can you take a picture and drop it in the support there of what we got going on there? That might help us. We obviously don't want you to damage your parts, so we want to try to help out the best we can. And a picture is worth more than words sometimes. All right, let's get started with this, guys. So we've already got the graphics card out. We got to remove the cooler to get the CPU. We have to remove the RAM and the SSDs. I did notice this, but this particular SSD was installed on the angle without the stud. So there is a stud there, but the stud was used as the mounting screw. So typically we would not have done that. Actually, no, it wasn't, but it still was on an angle. This is not the right screw for this. Hopefully that's not what Dell sent you. Got one SSD out. Huh. This little rubber thing on the bottom was stuck to the SSD to support it. Made it very difficult to get it out, but that's out. Probably keep that on there. Just a thermal pad. And I don't really want to peel it. Thank you for the the sub, Bradley. Are you doing a swap for this the garbage Dell case? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Tonight we are doing the swappage. There's our Crucial RAM coming out. Two sticks of Crucial Pro RAM is out. Now we're going to remove the processor's block, cooling block. Before I reveal that, I'm getting my paper towels handy. because we don't want to make a mess of things if there's a lot of thermal paste. I'm unplugging the pump connection, and we're just going to immediately wipe this off so it doesn't accidentally bump into something and get something nasty. There we go. That's going to keep thermal paste from getting everywhere inside this machine, and then I'm going to finish by wiping the CPU clean while it's secured in the socket. Then what I'm going to do is actually break out his new motherboard, and as I transplant this CPU from this motherboard to the new, I'm going to put the plastic part that comes off of the new motherboard right back on to this motherboard so it protects the pins. That way we don't accidentally damage the pins on this board, which should be fully functional. Sorry for another question. No, it's okay, Dylan. What's up? I saw it pre-built for $1,600 at Best Buy with 32 gigs DDR5 9060 XT and a Ryzen 7 7700 7000 series CPU. Do you think that's worth it? That's actually not a terrible price, all things considered. But also would depend on who built it and what brand is the pre-build, and then also what is the storage behind that, and the power supply in it would be kind of good to know. If it's a Dell, I would say, nah. Or HP, I would say, yeah, because they could actually build that a lot cheaper, in my opinion. Would not be a good deal. But if it's more like a higher end or more premium company that does pre-builds, then might be worth it, yes. But it's not a bad price. Not a terrible price. What's up, Ian? Hello, all. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you're doing good, sir. That's a fanny cooling pad. Yeah. Yeah, it is. Oh, no worries, Cryptics. No worries. You actually did everything you could because you didn't have the stud, and that is Dell's fault. They didn't put a stud on the motherboard with the M.2 screw. You'll have that for your new motherboard, so in the future, you won't have that problem. So, thanks, Dell. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull the CPU out of here, put it in here on this new motherboard. I'm going to expose the pins. Ooh, it's getting scary. And then that CPU bumped as I was lifting that, which stopped. It's okay. No damage. Whew. And then we're going to drop the new CPU awkwardly into the new socket. For some reason, I'm struggling with what. So the reason why I'm going to do this is so I can very simply get this plastic bracket off and immediately cover these pins up so that That plastic shield will cover those pins and protect them from being damaged. So next, we're actually done with everything in here. I could actually remount this technically. I think I'm not going to. To tie it somewhere so it doesn't flop around. Oh, I know. Right there. Yeah. We're doing it. We're doing it. Give me a big zip tie. Big one. Not really as big as I wanted, but it'll do. There we go. So that way it's not whapping around on the motherboard. Okay, so that moved out of the way now. Okay, and now we can focus on this bad boy. Selling it, then probably gonna upgrade to a 5080 come winter. Nice. So what we're gonna do here is we are going to remove these brackets. This is a T20. By the way, if anybody was wondering, the size that you need makes life 1,000 times easier when you're replacing these all the time. You're not using those stupid little Allen wrenches, which is what I started doing. And then I was like, this is dumb. I just gotta go find the wrench. For some reason, I thought you had a Thermalright contact frame. Did you change that out? This is a Thermal Grizzly contact frame. We definitely would have been just fine with the Thermalright contact frame. There's not much of a difference between the two. Except for, it's a smaller Allen wrench. Then, I'll subscribe if you dump the whole rig in mineral oil. I don't think we're doing that. I don't even have mineral oil here. If it was my build, I would say sure, but, you know, we'd have to procure mineral oil somewhere, which I know most stores, you can just go in and get some at pretty much anywhere. There we go. We have this bad boy mounted. So I'm going to take the box and put it back in the bag. And the wrench that I just removed those or installed those with is also in the bag. So you're aware, going in the bag. So don't throw this bag out. These, however, both wrenches are. One to remove, the other one is also in that bag. Actually, I'm just going to put all of these in here as well. So these are all going in that Thermalright bag. Yeah? I didn't mean to say NZ because that's the other way around. So what did you mean? Oh, gotcha. Hey Ben, is this system good for the price? Ryzen 3 3100 RX 5070, or I'm sorry, 5070, no, RX 570, 8 gigabytes DDR4 single channel with 512 gigabyte SSD, 1 terabyte hard drive, $650. No. Nope, that around here is going to be like 300 to 350 US dollars. Here in Michigan, with a Micro Center nearby and a bazillion people selling PCs. The market is actually super flooded up here. I don't know what it's like over by you, but if it's more of a rural area where it's hard to find stuff like that, then maybe there's a reason why maybe that's why it's 650. Will you be able to buy new parts and build that same system for less? Probably not. Not right now, because prices of new components are stupid, insanely expensive. But is that a good deal? No, absolutely not. $650 for that is sad. Especially with 8 gigs of RAM and a 512 gigabyte SSD and a Ryzen 3. The whole system's just screaming overpriced. If it's used, definitely not. If it's brand new, maybe. If you get like a 2-year warranty. Yeah, I know, Tony. You bought your SSD at a very good time, in a way. For that price, US dollars is like $1,100. I built a 5600X 3060 Ti for like $950 when the 3060 Ti died like after a week. Still managed to get an RX 6600 for that price. Has 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte, 980 Pro. Nice. It is brand new, not used. Oh. Well, I mean, if it comes with the warranty that I mentioned, like a 2-year warranty, then maybe it's worth it. If you want to have that warranty. Because that's what you'll be paying for. Went to Thermal Grizzly paste and plate. Gotcha. Yeah, I did catch that. It's not the Noctua paste. So, all right, we got the contact frame installed. We'll go ahead and install the RAM and the SSDs next. And then we're going to repaste the GPU. Then we'll be ready to break the case out. Yeah? By the way, that's the only right way to do it, is think that you have it backwards, flip it over, realize you had it the right way, and then flip it back over to the right way. I still do that to this day. Alright, now that we've got our RAM installed to slots A2 and B2, we can go ahead and installer SSDs. These are not Gen 5 drives, and I believe this is a Gen 5 slot, right? You guys know, I can't even remember. This is how long it's been since I've worked with Intel. The i7 13700K and the Z790, does that have PCIe Gen 5? Pretty sure it does. Oh, the T500 should be Gen 5. Well, then we'll put that in the Gen 5, supposedly, possibly. Gen 5 slots. I can't even remember. I don't build with a lot of Intel anymore. I know the newer Core Ultra series has it. But I can't remember, for the life of me, if the 13th and 14th gen have PCIe Gen 5 support. I'm pretty sure they do. I think it's the 12th gen that doesn't. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. Tell me the truth! And the T500 is a Gen 4 drive. So I'm going to leave your top slot open. I'm going to look up in the manual real quick, guys. So we're going to go do some manual shopping here. It's 6th gen. Oh no. All right, 1 second, guys. Desk mic check. All right. So we're over here on the support page for the motherboard because we want to check a couple of things. We want to check, let's see. We could probably turn that up just a little bit. Yeah, a little better. Hey, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Live. Just finished building a cheap PC for a family member using old parts laying around. Seems to work surprisingly well. Nice. Rare strip. Yes, welcome to the build show, some giant idiots. What are we doing? So I'm going to check to see. Well, I need to go into. I actually have no idea what the hell I'm doing. That's a really good question. What are you doing, Ben? I have no idea. I'm just going in here to check the manual for the M.2 slots to see if there's impact on the PCIe slot. That is what I'm doing. Because I can't remember. It's been so long since I've worked with Intel. I have CRS. Use your imagination for that one. But what we want to know here is on this board we have 1, 2, 3, 4 M.2 slots, okay? A lot of times these M.2 slots will share bandwidth with this slot right here, the PCIe 16. And that's where your graphics card goes. So we want to make sure we're not impacting the bandwidth on this slot. So that's what we're trying to find out. So we want full speed on this slot and obviously the best possible results for the SSDs. So that is what we're doing, is searching for that. Expansion slots, storage interface, chipset. It looks like it's a Gen 4. These are all Gen 4 slots, by the way. The 16 slot is PCIe 5. But the M.2s is all Gen 4. So there is no Gen 5 from this board. Yeah. Give me that. Give me that storage. Storage. Aha. Here we go. There are two types of M.2s. That's nice to know. Did you guys know that? Boo it. Don't you have Intel, some giant A? What? Yeah, I would just rock with your current rig right now. Ian says, as I get older, I say same thing more often. What am I doing? Yes, I have no idea what it. I have no idea. I'm getting full confidence from Cryptix is fully confident in my ability to build his machine right now when I'm saying I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's see here. I don't care about RAID because we're not doing that. Don't care about the pad right now. Okay, so either of these will work. What this means is we're just going to drop it in here. Back on. That's for a rainy day. And if you ever add another drive, it'll be a lot easier to get access to that with the card in there, which I would still recommend removing the card anyway. Oh, that's not even supporting it, so I'm going to peel this. Peeling that off because it's not even going to support it, so there's no way it down. Alright, so the 1 terabyte is the OEM. And I just peeled the thermal pads. There we go. Alright, so next, time to repaste a card. What everybody's here. So this, with my fingerprints and all, we'll wipe that up before it goes in, is the RTX 4070 Ti, which is a Dell OEM card. It comes in an Alienware. So what we would like to do is repaste it. He asked me to do that. I think it's a good idea because it came out of the Dell case. What's up, man? Just Algo? Nice GPU, thank you. We're gonna do a repaste on it. Came out of a Dell Alienware. And we're doing a Alienware case swap. I say you start singing to PC Squeeze. I don't know if you I don't think anybody here really wants to hear me sing. They're not here for singing. You're beautiful. It's true. Oysterhead, all I would need is a Z890 motherboard and a 270K. Oh, signing. I do sign my PCs. I thought you said singing. But signing makes way more sense. I actually do sign my PCs. Can I see the case? It's still in the box. We're not quite to the case yet, but it's the NZXT H9 Flow. If you want to look it up, the H9 Flow in black. That's the case that we'll be working with tonight. Discord karaoke night after party. Good call. Alright, so we're going to start by taking the card apart. This is actually a very easy card to disassemble. It's really, I'm pretty sure, these 4 screws here, and then we've got a plethora of screws here, and that should allow me to release or separate the card from the board, the cooler from the board. I'm going to start with the 4 spring-loaded screws here. They're actually pretty loose. They're not very tight. Which usually tells me I could have used a little bit more pressure. Then hope that my driver can still reach down in here, and it can. These are going to be a pain in the ass to get back in there. I can feel it. I'm actually not sure if I needed to take all these screws out, but I'm just gonna do it anyway. Won't let that one go. Whatever. And then the only other thing that I could call out is that there's 2 screws here. I actually don't know if these are attached to the cooler, but they look like they are, so I'm going to remove these also. So again, 2 screws here. 1, 2. Go ahead and remove those, just to be sure. And then we should be able to separate the card completely. And then access the core. I feel like I'm attacking a Montriarch or a Bastion. Need access to the core. Oh, that popped off already. Typically, those don't come off, but that's okay. Should allow me to separate card. Off. Don't really screws should come break free, but it's not really wanting to break free. Anybody else take apart a Dell OEM card recently? Explain how the hell these come off. Because it's acting like it's not going to come off. I can see it wants to let go. I probably should have heated this card up. This card is not wanting to let go. There we go. So, a little bit of wiggling. And we got it to break loose. But you don't want to just like rip it apart. Alright, so what we're looking at here is the actual RTX 4070. All of that is heatsink. And you can see the thermal paste job wasn't the best. There's a lot of exposed area where it was. Some of it covered. Most of it was covered, but go ahead and get that cleaned up a little bit. It is. It's actually a very nice card. Just said, okay, hold on. I just built my first PC. Can you rate my specs for me? It's a Ryzen 7 7700 8-core 16-thread NVIDIA Asus PNY RTX 5060. NVIDIA Asus PNY. How is it an Asus PNY? Is it like an Asus NVIDIA 8? How did that work? Dark Flash DC 36. I think what you meant, it's either Asus or PNY, you're not sure. Dark Flash DC 360 ARGB 360mm cooler. Gigabyte B850M Force Wi-Fi. Nice board. Kingston Fury. 32 gigs of DDR5 5600. You'll see that a lot more often now because it's cheaper. 2x16 and the X250 M-Tech. I don't think I've used one of those before. 1 terabyte SATA M.2. The Dark Flash 280 dual chamber case and a 650 watt silver 80 plus power supply. Dude is SLI 5060 Ti, like the old days. It's not even a Ti. They're just an RTX 5080 or 50. I'm sorry, RTX 5060s. Right, you're putting all your eggs in one basket, and that's Nova Lake. I keep hearing it. Nova Lake better be the best thing Intel has done in the last 10 years. Well, I guess since like the 9000 series. You know? All right, let's get this wiped up. So the good news is thermal paste probably, technically, did not need to be replaced. There's still plenty fresh on here. It's gonna take a little bit to get up to fresh. And it would have been a decent enough job for me to say it would have been fine. So Dell did a pretty good job, in my opinion, pasting their card. Even though Dell probably didn't do it. We got to get that clean. I'm going to use an Arctic Wipey for this because it is messy. Dell paste, we hate it. We actually don't know what paste they used. Oh yeah. I definitely did not get thermal paste jammed up into my fingernail. Definitely did not happen. Alright. So now that that is done, one more little polish from a dry towel. Just to make sure that's cleaned. Best we can do it. And then we have our nut by Thermal Grizzly that we're going to use for both the CPU and the graphics card. Just 5060 is a good. Yeah, the 5060 is good. Good card. I don't know what size this tube is, but looks like it's bigger, obviously, than a 1 or a 2. So. I'm going to put a healthy dose on there because I'm going to spread it, just to make sure we're getting full coverage here. They do offer you a nice little spreader, and all I'm going to do is spread it around. I could be down here and talking too. That is about as good as it's going to get. Wipe that spreader clean. Now it's time to put Humpty Dumpty back together again. struggle. We're getting there. We're getting there, guys. Sorry, I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. Let's see here. Doing 3D model tattoos on people's bodies. Love to suck up system resources. Oh, I bet. So I'm going to start with these two because of the actual bracket here. The pain if you don't get them lined up. While the back plate is free, you want to start with those ones. For anybody who ever takes a 4070 Ti Dell OEM card apart, it's actually not too bad other than figuring out that bracket when you go to put it back together if you didn't pay attention like I did. I didn't pay attention. How it goes back together to make sure you don't damage anything. I thought it was like all the other brackets where they just stay on. As part of the card mounted to the board. That one is different. I think a lot of newer cards are doing that now, but whatever. Almost done, guys. And then we can break the case out, throw a motherboard in there. Nearly done with the card. Alright, and then before I tighten everything down, I like to get all the screws in place and start the threads before I start tightening things down. And then typically I like to go closest to the core, which is where everything is happening. Make sure we get those tightened down first before everything else, because that's where the pressure, most of the pressure matters for this very reason, the whole reason why we took it apart. So usually I like to focus on the pressure here first, and then the tail end of the card, which is just all heatsink, is not that big of a deal. Just tighten those screws down. Okay, I'm going to double check these ones here, where they're at good pressure. And everything's good. This is ready to go. minus. Any fingerprints that I put on the card. There he is. Clean and ready to go. It's an ugly card, to be honest, but I like the very minimal RGB fans and AIO are about it. It's a nice 4070 Ti. All right, well, let's go ahead and break the case out next. So I'm going to zoom us back out, back into orbit, like our astronauts from NASA. They're on the Integrity. Let's get. I could tell somebody got excited and opened the box already and pulled the case out. But this is the NZXT, ouch, H9 Flow. Yeah. Come on. Let go of the glass. There we go. We're going to remove the top panel. And remove the back panel. One thumb screw, push away, lift. And then we could also remove the front glass, which looks like it does take 3 screws, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the front glass for the sake of me not having to deal with it. If I bump it and make smudges, I will clean it rather than remove it. So that is the H9 Flow. So now we just need the hardware out of the back. Oh, Cryptics, where did you want the... I had to make sure the glass wasn't broke. Gotcha. No worries. Where did you want the extra set of fans? On the bottom? Or did you want all of these black fans on the bottom? I think it would look best on the bottom, because you'll have the RGB on the top and the bottom. It'll look a little bit more, I don't know, even that way. Oh shoot, I forgot about Johnny over in the Discord. He said, let me take a picture. I don't think he ever came back. John, did you ever come back to give us that picture? Doesn't this come off? Whatever. Doesn't really matter. Right. Let's drop a board in there, shall we? There. Back sides RGB top and bottom. Black sides RGB top and bottom. Okay. So these fans right here are going to stay, which are reverse blades, it looks like. Or no. No, they're regular. So that's intake. Had a little bit of a brain fart there. Get our motherboard that is ready to drop in here. You know what? Before we put this motherboard in, we should probably check to see if there's mounting brackets. Even though there's this big gaping hole that we could utilize to get that on there. For the cooler. I actually want to double check that before we do this. So, hold on. This Kraken Core 360 RGB is what we're going to be using to cool the CPU now. We're going from that 240 millimeter Dell OEM Alienware cooler to the Kraken 360, which pretty nice cooler. All right, LGA 1700. It's pretty much going to be looking exactly the same mounting mechanism as what we removed. Aha. There is indeed a backplate, so glad I looked. I mean, why wouldn't there be? There's going to have to be some sort of backplate. That's AMD. This is 1200. Here's our 1700. Need that. 1700 standoff, so we need those. And we'll need that. Probably the rest of the stuff we don't need. That's AMD, I'm pretty sure, yep. And this is 1200. So we don't need any of that. And it already has the LGA 1200, 1700 bracket on it. That. And I pretty much know how to put this together from here. I don't do a lot of NZXT product. I had to go look at the instructions. So what we're going to do is put this back plate on the back of the motherboard. And then we're going to use these standoffs to mount the back plate to the board. Oh my gosh. You wish those fans were uni connectors. I would have chosen them. I really like the ring style lights they have. Yeah, the problem with NZXT is they like to use their proprietary stuff. I mean, Leon Lee does too, but at least Leon Lee makes most of their stuff somewhat backwards compatible, where they have hubs and stuff that make everything work with their new stuff. Okay, so now that we have those in, that's going to make life a lot easier when we go to mount the cooler. We don't have to deal with that. Put that there and hope it stays. And we're going to drop our motherboard in finally. For real this time. Gently place for the correction. For the CPU paste, can you spread it like the GPU, or it makes no difference? It does not make a difference for the CPU because there's so much more pressure from 4 points here. It will spread. So really all I do is a big X and then a couple of P's around the corner, and that, trust me, will spread perfectly. You don't even have to spread it. I don't think I remember the last time I've spread a CPU, just because you don't need to anymore. There's people that prefer to do it, so if you really want me to, I will, but you really don't have to. 99.9% sure these are the correct screws. NZXT does not really define that very well. But I guessed right. Yeah, if you really want me to, I can. I mean, obviously, I'll test it, and if thermals aren't right, then I'm definitely going to take it apart and fix it. But sometimes still, stupid stuff will happen. Like a piece of hair will fall off my head and run right down the middle. That'll be actually enough to cause problems with thermals. Now, that hasn't happened in a long time, but still. Alright, we've got the motherboard mounted, and what else did I want to do? There was one thing that I was thinking of. We have a GPU bracket. I just didn't know what type of bracket it was. I just remember you mentioning a bracket. Okay, so this is one of the L brackets. What I wanted to make sure was it wasn't one that goes here on the board. Instead, it's one that mounts off to the side here, which is fine. Just wanted to make sure we knew what it was. Not quite ready for that. Continue with this for now. And next steps is getting everything from the case plugged into the motherboard, and then we could start installing fans. If we look, we have USB 3, USB-C, and front panel, a lot of fan options, RGB down there if we need. And our cooler is going to be up here. So, you know pretty much where everything's going here. From this giant mess is pre-tangled from the factory. Brought to you by NZXT. Tangled. Okay. Got a twist tie here, which is cramping my style, man. Twist ties. NZXT probably has as many. Where do I grab this thing? Alright, so USB 3, which is our front panel USB 3, which is still, even after untangling, looking very tangled, goes right here. Very awkward install. And then this is our USB-C front panel. That plugs into the USB-C header here. Both of these can only plug in one way. There's really no wrong way to plug them in, other than forcing it in. Don't want to do. This is F panel. This is our front panel. This is what controls our power reset. LEDs indicating that there's power to the system. And then this connector that I'm plugging in is actually a daisy chain to all three of these fans here. This is going to fan 1. These are system fan 1, and then HD audio is our front panel audio, and that plugs into AX F audio, or I'm sorry, F audio for front panel audio. I was just reading from the board. What's up, 3 brick boys? Welcome back to the Build Show, chat nerds. Roy, is this Haven 420 the most manageable cable management I've ever used? I thought the Montech Pro was good. No comparison. I'm actually building into the HS 420 the first time coming up here probably the next couple of weeks. We just have some paint that we have to work on the case because we're going to be doing some custom paint on this. It'll look cool. And then we'll be assembling a pretty beastly rig in that system. So looking forward to building in the Haven 420. And we're loading it out with 140 fans and a 420 millimeter AIO. Yeah, the 207 does a really good job, I think. Hey, what's up, King? Welcome back to the Build Show. For the past 2 months, you've been streaming when I was dead asleep. I'm sorry. I've also not been streaming a lot, so we just really been, it's been really slow over here, new build wise for the Build Show. So I've been trying to think of some different ways we could do some build streams or not build streams, but just content in general, or hanging out, or you know, when things get slow like this, it gets weird because I'm like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? What do I do, guys? I don't even know. Building a PC is like my thing. It's always been my thing on the channel. So my mini monitor died. Oh, yeah. Did you ever take it apart, Roy? I know we talked about it. I got the fan headed, because Cloud, you listen to AI, said that I needed it for RGB controller for the NZXT cam. You might. I know you and I kind of briefly touched on that, I believe. There's a possibility that you don't need that. I mean, just do your thing. What I'm trying to do is just we don't have a ton of people willing to spend all this extra money on this hardware because it's so expensive. I'm not getting a ton of builds. And I don't really do super budget builds anymore. It's because, well, during the year I did 733 builds. I did a lot of budget builds. A lot. So I didn't make any money on any of it. It's not that, you know, I'm trying to make money. It's just if I'm spending the time on it, it was not profitable. So it made more sense to just stick, you know, newer stuff. And it was more exciting to build with newer stuff instead of the same old Ryzen 3, 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigabyte, $300 special, you know, or $400 to $500 special back then. I was building a lot of those. Those were pretty boring. So this is a lot more exciting. We're literally transferring it from a Dell. Somebody could get value out of this video because they saw me. Oh, they pulled the video, the CPU, the RAM, the graphics card, and put it all on a new motherboard, put it in a new case. This is how you do it. Of course, you don't need NZXT. You could do a lot of different hardware. Thank you for the follow over there on the Kick side as well. Actually, don't know who that is. Oh yeah, Ben got Johnny GPU out, and he is back up and running. Nice. Why did you have to get the GPU out? I can't remember. That was like 2 hours ago. And thank you, chat, for assisting. Chat nerds for assisting with that. I appreciate you due to your proximity. Yes, a lot easier. If I do take my money back from Amazon. Oh, yeah. If I don't, I'm going to take my money back. Oh, okay. Oh, his clip was broke. Oh, but his card was stuck? How did it get stuck? So his clip, he just didn't see that the clip wasn't there? Or was the clip, like, broke stuck? So he couldn't even move it, or feel it, or see it? Or all of the above. I mean, anything's possible. The clip was broke stuck. Okay. Nice. So that's kind of one of those moments where you're just gonna pull it out, or somehow fish it out with a really fine tip screwdriver or something. Excuse me. Yeah, I haven't broken one of those in a long time, so it's been a while since I've been in that. No, we got it unclipped. Oh, okay, good. Good. Yeah, I just didn't want him to like break the card and have another video for Northwestern or Northwest, the guy that reballs cards all the time. And actually, he's done a lot of crazy work. So if you guys want to see some crazy solder work, that dude Northwest Repair or something like that, he does some crazy GPU repairs. I've even sent him repairs, not stuff that I broke, but unfortunately stuff that broke in shipping and stuff that wasn't going to get R-made. And he's saved me a couple times. Oh yeah, he's hilarious too. Look at this, like he expects me to fix this, stuff like that. It's like and then he actually fixes it. What's the best RGB controller then software can control like OpenRGB without needing an RGB header on the motherboard? Well, if you don't have an RGB header on the motherboard, you have to use some sort of connection back to the motherboard or USB to communicate with the software. Without that, it's just not going to work unless there's like a Bluetooth option, which I am not aware of. But basically, you need something to go back to the motherboard to talk with the software. Without that, you're going to use like a RF controller, one of those cheap controllers with a button or with a remote. Those do exist. They're just not as cool. And they burn out. They like to burn out a lot. That's the other problem I've seen with them. Speaking of expensive, I just found a guy selling a PC on Facebook Marketplace for $1,700. I'm wondering whether to buy it. Well, what's the specs on it, King? All right, so now that we got all these cables plugged in, we could probably move on to getting the cooler and the fans installed. I'm probably going to start with the fans on the bottom, and that'll better explain whether or not we're going to need that RGB cooler or that RGB controller. The cooler has everything it needs to run the RGB. So I'm pretty needed for that. And in fact, it uses the RGB header that just plugs into the motherboard. But it's this one that I'm worried about. The F420 RGB. And this one does have the RGB connector on it. So, or it could go to the hub, but we're going to use the hub. That way, it'll be easier with the NZXT software. Since all of the RGB in the system will be NZXT. Makes more sense to do it that way. These are not reversed blades, so our fans are unfortunately going to be facing this way, not this way. It would be the same way if we mounted them to the side. It would be facing that way. That would have been the difference in reverse blades and non-reverse blade. I hope you're okay with that, because this is supposed to be intake on the bottom here. One thing I didn't catch when we were looking at the parts. I was just looking at compatibility, and technically it was compatible. I should have caught that. But if you ever want to swap those out, just let me know and we'll swap them out. They're installed. No, I'm just kidding. They're not. Gotta get the screws out and actually install those. How does that tray come out? Does that tray come out? Or we just lay it on its back and... Yeah, we'll just... Here we go. We got the bottom fans installed. Those aren't going anywhere. So next we can attack the cooler. Be pretty much just as simple. And we need this package. Huh? Could get a tape measure out and measure both ends, but I'm gonna just eyeball it. And it looks good. Alrighty. We've got all that done. Yeah. Feel that before I forget about it. Alright, so he requested to go ahead and wipe this off. We shoot. That way it is going to be using the crowd. The Durnot from Thermal Grizzly. Nice. There we go, nice and cleaned for the most part. I did see one little speckle fly off. I have no idea where it went. Making sure it didn't fall into like the PCIe slots or something. Let's see, catch up on the chat here. I got the 420 fans for free, LOL, since Amazon is bad at shipping. Oh, nice. That's actually a really good deal. Don't take those back. I just want them to be intake on the bottom. That's exactly how we installed it, is intake. It's just the RGB is less when it's that way, so it doesn't look as cool, but it is going to cool way better than it looks. So, well, look at it this way, Ben. You get some sweet build gloves when you do the Havin 420. Oh, cool. I haven't opened up the case. It's actually sitting right behind me. The bottom fan are intake or no? Yes. The bottom fans are intake, yes. Yes, that is how I installed them in the orientation of intake. Correct. That's perfect. Thank you, exactly what I want. Yes. The only way I'll do it. That's what he was talking about. If you were to buy reverse blades, they would be the right way up, correct? So that's where I was going with that. If we wanted, the RGB to be facing upwards, we would have had to purchase reverse blades, and then we could have installed them the other way. But because they're not reverse blades, and we need intake down here, we have to install them what looks like upside down. But this is actually intake, so all the air's coming in here, intakes on the front coming in, and this top is exhaust out, and this rear is exhaust out as well. So we have all the proper fan orientation for the entire system here. Everything's exactly what it should be in this case design. So we are good to go there. So let's go ahead and paste this up and put this cooler block on the CPU once and for all. I'll show you exactly what I was talking about when I was mentioning the paste. Usually what I'll do here is just do a very nice, wealthy X pattern, like this. Right? And then just do a little bit of dot here, little teeny dot here, a little teeny dot here, and a little teeny dot here. And this is plenty of paste for this CPU. And as soon as we put this block on there and tighten it down, it's going to push it all out, and it will be a perfect connection. I would say 99.9% of the time, and when there are problems, it'll show in the tests. Hey, we know what a 13700 should look like. That's a little toasty, so then we'll go in and fix it. This I don't get about NZXT is how they have twisted tubes. This probably is the most annoying thing I've ever seen in my life. twisted tubes. I think the intent... I actually have no idea what their intent was here. Why is there a twisted tube on this? The tubes cross. Is there a reason why those tubes cross? Doesn't show the tubes crossing in any of the pictures. Does show, however, the tubes lining up with the ram here, which is interesting. But it does want that. Literally what they're asking me to do. Had a panic moment. I'm like, what about the peel on the bottom? All right, there was paste on it. We wiped that clean. But you can see these thumb screws have these massive springs on them. So you've got a thumb nut, I guess, not a screw, but a thumb nut with this massive spring on it, which is going to put a lot of tension on this cooler. And that is exactly how that paste gets spread around because of all that tension, the pressure. There's a lot of pressure on these things. That's why it's also generally a good idea to go around and do a couple of spins on each one, corner to corner, diagonally. This way you're applying the pressure as evenly as possible when you are tightening these. This is the final pressure, the final countdown. And then once you're happy with it, you just go around and check it, make sure you're happy, you're good. That is installed. Now that it's in, does not look like it's crossed. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah. Yep. A little bit of a mind F, I think. What I'll say. Bit of mind going on inside there. Alright, the pump's going to go to CPU opt 1 because the actual pump header is way down here at the bottom of the board. Obviously, we're not going to run this little teeny tiny short cable right here all the way to the bottom of the board. Actually, probably could if we ran it through here down and then probably couldn't. Not working. We're just going to use CPU option 1 as our pump header, for the record. If you ever go back and watch this video. And we're going to also run our RGB cable. Back the case. Back through. And our fans are going to connect here too. Don't worry, I'll put some ties on this. Feel this. I don't want that purple in the cable. Bad purple sticker. Dumb spot. Go. Now we'll get the fans right here connected to the header on the motherboard, which is going to be the CPU fan header, and then we'll daisy chain the RGB to that connector. So here's our PWM fan connector and our RGB. Oh, and I forgot the hidden fan order. The corner fan. Now we gotta find a home for it. Typically, I like to run these down and under. See if we have a spot on the side. Sure we do. That's a negative, Ghost Rider. We're gonna have to run it all the way down. Ooh. For the record, System Fan 2 is your rear fan. And these are CPU fan, and your pump is CPU op. And then the bottom fans will probably be System Fan 3. CPU Fan 6 is the alternative pump head, yes, which is... CPU Fan 6 is the alternative pump header up top. Where? Where? That doesn't exist. Oh, the cable extensions. Oh no, it's fine. We don't need the cable extensions. It is fine running on the CPU option. Last one on the top right by the CPU. Last one top right by the CPU. No, that's an RGB connection. We've only got CPU opt, and then we've got CPU fan. That's it. There's no other option up there. Would you like me to zoom in for you? I promise I'm not crazy. So, this guy here is CPU off. This guy here is CPU fan, and that's RGB 12 volt, or RGB 5 volt. And then you've got RGB 12 volt. There's no header. No other header. That's it. And then to the right, you got the edge of the board. Am I missing something? Top right. This would be top right. I don't see what you're talking about. What the fuck version is this? I told you, this is the Z790 Aorus Elite AX Gigabyte. It's okay, we had to readjust the camera. I think it was kind of goofy. But now you can see my massive pile of mess over here. Alright, so we've got that cleaned up, zip tied, nice and neat. Might actually drop a tie around this for the S's and the G's. Actually, you know what, that'll be pulled tight back there. We don't need to tie that, that was dumb. Alright. RGB down below is what we got to deal with next. We're going light, 1030. So this is a NZXT control hub. Pretty sure technically we could have used the RGB headers. But if we want to use fancier RGB hub, or you're going to be limited to what the motherboard software is capable of doing. And I might actually rerun this RGB cable to this hub. Thinking about it. I don't think we're going to need that. However, I don't think we need this. Is this the right hub? Yeah. So, what I need to do now is rotate this. I can place this right here. Exactly where I would put it. And we'll run our cable up like that, down and around like this. Make it super fancy and go to the USB header. And then flip it back over. There we go. Now, flip it back over. Oh. Super easy to plug these fans in, though. I will give NZXT credit for that, where that's due and earned. Going to be plugged into pin 1. Alright, so that's done. Now, really, the only last things that we have to do is put the graphics card in and do the power supply. Yo, what? I'm back. Oh, what's up, man? Went for lunch. Build for customer. Yes. Dell Alienware case transfer. How do you think it's going? They had the blowout sale. The black ones were 169. The Western Digital Black, are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about the ends. Yep. Yeah, they had a really good deal on those boards. I actually remember Roy buying that. You bought that, right? I'm pretty sure you bought it, right? Okay, but we do have some cable management that we're going to have to take care of here. So, even though we're pretty much out of the woods, we want to clean this up and make it look as nice and pretty as possible. Right? But at the same time, we still have to put a power supply in. We can't get too crazy. Oh. Whatever, we'll put the power supply in and deal with all this. Let's just go ahead and drop the graphics card in. I'm telling you, I'm gonna have to use a zip tie, and it's because of this case. I keep going back to that. Alright, let's pull this. It's this one. And this one. And then we'll have to pull some additional for that bracket. Do. Got a really good angle on the inside of the card. We'll take a peek at it. See what it looked like. Even though it's just in there, but I don't know why I put those screws on. That was dumb. Gotta put this on. This here is a GPU bracket. We call these L brackets. Literally all it does, actually, it's not dumb that I removed that. It does. So, right there. Perfect. They do have these little cushy pads that we're going to put on there. Little cushy pads will help keep rubbing the vibrations off the card. Never a big fan of them because they like to unstick, but because they're literally fighting gravity, these ones won't do it. There we go. That card's not going anywhere. You had to say it. Coming along. Alright, so now the last thing we gotta install is the power supply itself. Should be pretty easy. All we're gonna be installing is two EPS cables up here at the top, one 24 pin here, our 16 pin for the graphics card, and then we have an 8 pin for the hub on the back. That's really it. So, I'm not going to install all the cables onto the power supply. If it's a modular power supply, I'm only going to install the cables we need. Go ahead and flip this back around once again to the back and get ready for the power supply. Which is a NZXT C1000 Gold. It's actually not. It's an 80 plus gold, so yeah, the efficiency rating would be a downgrade, but the size is much bigger. That's definitely not the cable I wanted. The size is much bigger, so. So, yeah, you lose a little bit on the efficiency, but you gain more wattage. It was 1,000 watts? No way. No way. There's no way that thing's 1,000. I gotta go look this. Got your service tag here. We're going to go look it up. Don't even have to take it apart. There's no way. Thank you for having this built for us to enjoy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Cryptix. All right. It's an Aurora R16 for the record. Your warranty expired December 26th of 2025. That was just recent. Is that what triggered? Hey, I'm out of warranty. I could go do all the things I want to do to it now. Do. Why? It is a Dell 1000 watt power supply. I am in complete shock. I'm impressed. That's pretty impressive, actually, to be honest. I would have never guessed that. I would have guessed 700, 800 watt, maybe. I'm impressed I'm impressed. That's all I can say. You can say it 18 more times, too. Okay. No, we're just looking at the other power supply. Don't get so jealous. Got sick of waiting. I honestly thought this. I was like, there's no way. No way Dell actually did you right. But I'll be honest with you, I'm impressed out of hell. So. Impressive. The only other thing to do is to become Steve, like Gamers Nexus. We tear this bad boy apart, this power supply, and we verify that it is actually 1000 watts, 80 plus platinum. And that it runs quieter than a baby sleeping. I honestly, they had the part replacement on the website, Tony, and the 1000 watt 80 plus platinum exact replacement part on their website was $189, and that was not a bad deal for 1000 watt 80 plus platinum. The only downside is it's gray and it looks ugly, but all things considered, it's not a bad deal. Makes it really hard to argue about it. Oh, try message him on YouTube. Did already. What's up, King? Sorry. I was over on the YouTube chat, and then I was looking that up. King, I don't have a PC. Oh, yep. Did you put the specs in the chat and I forgot or missed? Okay, here. Yeah, alright, I'll scroll up here and get it. I'll find it. I didn't forget about you. I just forgot about life there for a minute because I was in shock that Dell actually sold this guy 1000 watt 80 plus platinum. Back it out, back it out. All right, I got to scroll up in the chat here, guys. Uno momento. Oh, chat keeps bouncing on me. Not good. I missed Eldo. First time here. What are we building? We're doing a Dell transfer. Sorry, Mr. Chat there, bud. Let's see here. Your mod helped me really well. Thank you. Oh, yeah, no problem. Oh, you have a i9 12900K RTX 4080 Super 16 gigs DDR4. DDR4. Oh, because of the 12900K, because they come with either DDR5 or DDR4 motherboards. Not too shabby. 1.5 terabyte SSD, 1000 watt power supply. Also comes with an extra 34-inch 1440p monitor, which is a Samsung S23 FE. I'm actually not familiar with the Samsung series that well. You said that was 1700. That's actually not terrible. The RAM's kind of low. Storage is kind of low for almost $2,000, but it's not terrible. The 4080 Super, 4080 Super is going to be like, I don't know, what are those? Those still run what, around 1,000 used right now? 800 to 1,000, I would say. 12900K. I mean, those still, you pick those up at Micro Center for actually not a terrible deal. And I would be willing to bet that that was probably a Micro Center bundle. So it probably has a cheap motherboard because that's not listed. I don't know. Not a bad price, all things considered right now, but kind of low on the RAM. I would try to knock a few bucks off of that if you could. It's a white. Wait, who's got the white? ROG Strix 4080 Super, big difference. Yo, King redeemed build. Yeah, well, tonight I am unfortunately not going to build with my eyes closed. If it was a inventory build, I would. I have done it before. So come back in an inventory build and retrieve that. So if you want me to do something else, I will. I'll hydrate. I'll give him a free one if he comes back in and he just messages me to do it, if he reminds me. I don't like doing it on customer builds. Specifically, people like to try to make me build blindfolded when I'm putting a CPU in a socket. Now that's just like, you just can't do that. Don't do that to me. Hey, don't miss out on anything. Oh my gosh. Real could have saved me 160 bucks. I know. Except for the Dell power supply is also proprietary, so it's not going to work with this motherboard. Technically. Shouldn't. Make Ben say he loves Intel better than AMD and always have. I mean, technically, I always did love Intel more than AMD. But I've always been an AMD fanboy because they were so much cheaper. Now it's the opposite. So does that make me an Intel fanboy now? No. Because I had to spend so much time, money, and effort sending CPUs back to Intel. That's why. They ruined me. Great, now you got me all coughed up and worked up. Got me all worked up now. All right. I'm good on the blind building, Big G. Are you sure? Are you sure you don't want me to build blind? Let's see if we can plug this in for you blind. For the record, in the past streams, we have done blind streams, blind build streams. I don't know, guys. It looks like he's really into it. He really wants us to do it blind. This is why I didn't want to get too crazy with the cable management, because we're going to have to undo all this anyway. All right, let's get everything plugged in, and we'll come back to that mess. Oh, now it. That's right. That whole time, stayed there. The one time I flip it over. The one time I flip it over, it pops out. Okay. Eyeballs down. Yeah, at least we didn't break the RAM. Wait, who broke RAM? Sure. What? That was so weird. Alright, a couple of zip ties down here. We're good to go. Medium ones. There you have it. Just make sure it looks good on the other side. USB-C is not pulled taut. We are going to do a zip tie there. It's driving me absolutely bonkers. There you go. About as clean as it's gonna get. For real, Ian, what did Ian say? Smart move. After the work to have this, the last you want to do is make shortcuts your gut is saying to do. Can I use the USB on the front of the case, Ben, or is it not worth it? Yeah, you could use the USB on the front of the case. Yeah, why wouldn't you be able to? I got it all plugged in for you. So, everything here, all that works. Everything here. It all works like it should. Little scratch there. You guys ready to see this thing fire up? Put the panels back on. Clean up some of this, all this extra cable that we have, and the hubs and stuff. And we'll fire it up. We are going to keep the side glass panel off. Just so we can see the lights and all that. All right. Oh. Only took, what was that, 3.5 hours? Almost 3.5 hours. But here's a side view of it. I actually meant to use the multi-view tonight, and I forgot. Nice. All right. Roy says fire it up. Here we go. Cryptics. You gotta let us know when to punch it. Move that bus. Push the power button. Let us know when you're ready. And your wish will be my command. And I shall fire it up for the first time. There's a little bit of a delay on YouTube just for awareness. I'm not just standing here like an idiot when you've already responded. Do it! Do it! Tony says, do it. Jedi. Ah, here we go. It says fire it up. 3, 2, 1. Please no smoke. I'm joking. Let's give it a second. Those RGB lights on the top will kick in. You just gotta give it a minute. Have some faith for the post. Faith in the post. Actually, Roy, it wasn't a SATA cable. It was an 8-pin PCIe connector for the RGB hub for NZXT. Woof. And yes, it's plugged in. See if we can clean that up. Uno momento. Yeah, there's not much I could do there, guys. This is a really bright block. I can't even get the contrast out of it. Looks a lot cooler in person, the block does. The camera's just like flipping out because it's so bright. Hey, we got a post. We're gonna reboot though. Back to the BIOS. Nice. Turn the high beams off. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, the bottom fans are running off the NZXT controller. The top fans are currently running off of the motherboard controller. Looks like it's trying to boot into Windows, so whatever you had previously on the drive, it's trying to boot to. So we will not be sharing the screen. I will reinstall Windows and wipe those clean. But both drives are empty? Is that correct, Cryptix? That's what you wanted? You wanted both drives wiped clean, and you wanted the OEM 1 terabyte, the C drive, and the crucial T500 to be your D drive. You wiped it. Oh. Is that why it already booted to Windows? It's not. Is this the right version of Windows, though? I might just give it another reinstall. Unless you have data on here that you want me to keep. We took the brains, the memory, the storage, and the visual GPU out of the Alienware, and we shoved it in this NZXT tower. Ta-da! It's in the box. Yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. I've got Windows here. Not, I could use the same key on this. Just don't worry about it. I'll deal with it. But there's no data on the drives that you want to keep, correct? That's the only answer that I need. Do it. Do it. No, I want the Windows 11 Pro key I gave for a fresh install. No OEM key. Right. It doesn't matter where it comes, where the install comes from. The key is what tells it OEM or whatchamacallit. So the install doesn't matter. It's the key. So yes, I will use the key that's in the box. Did you already use the key on the other computer? I hope we didn't. Unless it's retail. That's retail, so it couldn't matter. Either way, we'll figure it out. We'll deal with it. I'll get it installed using your key from your box. Don't worry. Never used. Okay. I didn't get that far of looking. I just saw that it was in the box. And we'll get that installed. We'll get the drivers installed. We'll get the NZXT software installed. We'll get this thing tested. But as of right now, geez, booted up. It's a good sign. It's the beginning. So I'll push to have this thing ready to go tomorrow for you. So just be patient and wait for my text or call to let you know it's ready for pickup, and then come and get it. And then you'll have it ready for the weekend, as long as there's no weird issues during testing. So, which, I mean, as of right now, it's booted up, and I haven't seen any anomalies, so posted relatively easy. And the BIOS for the... Yes, in the BIOS, yes. I will get all that. I do all of it. I may not have said it, but I will do the BIOS. I'll make sure Secure Boot is enabled. I'll make sure XMP profile is enabled for your RAM. Windows, I'll make sure it's on the right drive. It looks like it's installed. I just don't know what drive it's on. But I like to go through those steps to make sure it's all correct. Make sure everything's formatted for you, ready to go with both drives. For the drives, and then what else? Gigabyte Control Center is going to be installed, along with all the motherboard drivers, along with the NVIDIA drivers for the graphics card, and then the NZXT software for the NZXT hardware. What else am I missing? And then benchmark testing. I got faith in you. I've only built well over 1,000 computers in the last, was it 4 years now? 3 years? Make sure it can run Doom 1993. Yes, I will. That's the first game. That's the first benchmark I'm going to run on it. There you have it. The 3.5 hour process with the adventure of seeing a green Alienware from 2003 in comparison to one from about a year or so ago. And then taking that Alienware, the new one, modern, and putting it in ZXT hardware mixed with Gigabyte. That's how you do it. You think it could run Crysis? Probably not. Probably can't run Crysis. Nah. There's still nothing on this planet that can run Crysis to this day. No, it'll run. This machine here would pretty much run anything you throw at it. That's what I would say. 4070 Ti with a 13700K, 32 gigs of RAM, and now excellent cooling. You should be able to throw anything at this thing. And you have lots of wiggle room for upgrade. You could upgrade to a i9 if you wanted to. You could upgrade more RAM. You have 2 additional slots for more storage. The top slot and the bottom slot. And then, of course, the graphics card you can always upgrade because you have a 1000 watt power supply. You could go all the way up to a 4090. You could 5080, 5090, 5090. I usually like to see 1200 watts, especially if you have a bigger 14900K in there. 1200 watt would be preferred, but you could do some upgrades here if you wanted to later down the road. And you have a massive case that will be compatible with any of the hardware that I just talked about. So pretty much sky's the limit here until the platform becomes completely obsolete, which probably 10 years from now. I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10 years. Completely obsolete. I was thinking i9 12900KS for no microcode issues. Good call, though the newer microcode has significantly helped reduce the degradation on the CPUs, so you could probably be okay running a 14900K for at least a couple of years. Intel also extended the warranty on their Intel CPUs specifically for those issues, so you should have a pretty nice warranty if you ever had to send the CPU back. Though the 13700F that you have in there does not fall under that warranty because it is an OEM processor from Dell, so you would not be able to send that back to Intel. You'd have to send that back to Dell, and your warranty with Dell is already expired, and you'd have to send it back as a complete system, which sucks. Maybe, yeah, maybe if you wanted to get the if you go to 14900KS, I would highly recommend changing the cooler out to a 420mm AIO, because even this cooler, being as cool as it is, 14900KS is a beast, and it likes to thermal throttle under like just the slightest bit of data moving. It gets spikes, and the temp spike like crazy. So definitely if you go 14900KS, I would highly recommend considering a 420mm AIO, which is the case can fit. I'm pretty sure this one, yeah, it could definitely fit it. So I don't believe that. There is plenty of room for 420 on this, on the top here. I'll double check, but pretty sure you could put a 420mm in the H9 Flow. Let me double check it. NZXT H9 Flow. Do. No, I don't want to send you my email, NZXT. I just want the information. Okay, so the top says up to 420mm. Front is up to 420mm. Bottom is only supporting a 360mm radiator, though you have 140s in the fans in the bottom. I think they're just worried that the radiator won't fit in the groove You could potentially put the fans, the 140 fans in, and then the radiator. And then fans on top of that, so it's a fan radiator fan sandwich, and probably make it work. A 420 in the bottom. Then the rear only supports 120, so the top does indeed support a 420 millimeter AIO. NZXT does not. I don't think they make a 420. Do they? They do. I gotta. I don't do a lot of NZXT, so. I'm going to look right now because I'm curious. I do not see a 420 millimeter AIO in their lineup. I see a 280. It's kind of weird that they have a 280 and a 360, but no 420. Oh, they do. There it is. They have one white one, and that's it. I don't see a black one. Does it? Can I change the color? Okay, good. Thank goodness. I could change the color. Looks like they're sold out. Never mind. I can't change any color. They're sold out. Notify me. Never mind. Looks like they're hard to get. My main system is a 12900K 4080. Love my system. Does everything it needs and then some. All right, Cyber Monday. I'm getting a 1400K, no S. Yeah, I think that's all you would need. Unless you're doing some crazy video editing or something. It's not really worth going to the KS. But I mean, 12900K will get the job done too for a lot cheaper. Oh yeah, the 360 is way better than the 240. It's a whole extra 120 millimeters of radiator and fan. Way better. Really, the goal is your liquid is running through a loop on the radiator, and the longer time the liquid has to run through that loop and the more fins it can travel through with the more airflow that's hitting it, the cooler the liquid can get before it loops back down to the CPU to pick up the heat again. And the cooler the liquid is, the cooler your CPU is going to be. I don't know, watching this stream on 4 screens from Twitch, YouTube, Kick, Facebook is really taxing my 1400KF. I likes video, I told you. Likes data. It loves data. Here's the multi-view, by the way. It would have been able to watch a little bit of everything. The multi-view. I'm over here dancing by the 28 Celsius on the open loop I did like 3 years ago. Meant to use the multi-view. Tony says I run a push-pull on one of my PCs and then not on the other. Push-pull, there's quite a bit better comparatively. Yeah, you could definitely, in this case, fit a push-pull on the bottom and the top. There's plenty of room. Just don't get a, 5090, because then you might have to go vertical. All right, so there you guys have it. We did the build. I streamed in the month of April. So we'll see you next month. No, I'm just kidding. We do have some really cool customizations coming on an HS420, which is a Haven HS420 case. That's coming up here soon. I'm going to be doing a custom paint job on the case. It'll be really cool to see that. as well as a logo. It's some custom fan grills and all sorts of really cool stuff for this build, as well as custom cables from CableMod. So super excited to get to complete that or do that project. It's a really nice, really nice build. So kind of excited to do that one, but we're waiting for the cables to come from CableMod. And if anybody knows, the CableMod time frame is usually 2 weeks minimum. And those just got ordered earlier this week, or actually no, almost a week ago now. So, and then the other thing is the stencil I had to order, and the custom cutouts. I actually know a guy on Etsy that I've used several times for custom fan grills, and I had him do the work. So he's doing it all by, he's doing all the work. So those are custom made, cut for 140 millimeter fans, and he'll be sending those. So those take time to get here too. And then I got to paint the case, and then we could do the build stream. So, and I do plan on recording some of the work as I go through and putting together a final start to finish type video. It's just going to take time to get to that. So next stream, I'll try to throw together another stream next week, at least once a week. Try to do a stream for now until we pick back up, because it's just slow AF over here when it comes to new builds. Service, however, on the other hand, has been extremely busy. I've been assisting a lot of people, especially people that are trying to just squeeze a little bit more money out of their existing builds that I've already built. So doing a little bit of upgrade here and a little bit of upgrade there. So, and or just helping with random issues, like guy with a laptop said it doesn't charge. He brought it in, I plugged it in, it charges, and he takes it back and it doesn't charge, so he brings it back. Anyway, back and forth. A lot of fun stuff like that. So that is kind of the plan right now. I'll try to do a stream once a week. It'll be hit or miss what day it's going to be. I'm still trying to figure this out as we progress into the summer. Weekends get really busy for me, because that is literally the time I have to mow lawns. If anybody remembers last year, I was mowing 3 lawns. We're going to continue mowing 3 lawns again. So we have 3 lawns that we have to mow. No, we don't get paid for the lawns. It is purely out of necessity and love for Grandma. So, and the other thing is the well, what else was it? So it'll probably, I guess it'll just be a weekday stream. I just don't know what days it's going to land on as it warms up here in Michigan. So if you really want to watch me ride around on a zero turn, I mean, I guess we could. Yeah, I mean, I fly on that thing. I don't even put my phone in my pocket because I'm afraid it's going to fall out. Well, the lawn that I do is like 5 acres. It's a large lawn, which is why the lawn mowing day takes the whole day, because we have the half acre that we live on here. It's only like a half acre, so it's not that big of a deal. It takes about an hour to mow because of all the stuff you have to go around. Then we have Grandma's yard, which is about an acre, maybe a little less than an acre, but it's about an acre. That takes about 1.5 to 2 hours to complete. And then we have the 5 acre lot, which is out in Armada, and that is a beast of a lawn that we have to mow. So that takes like 4.5 hours plus. But it's very satisfying when it's completed. What's the best way for me to get my PC home without too much road bumps? Well, good thing the road was just graded. Cryptics. I'll be packaging it back up in the box for you. So it'll be in the box with the styrofoam, and the goal is basically have the graphics card glass side panel facing up, which I'll mark the box. This side up. So lay that facing up, basically. ABC's got the best food, gotta go there. No, you don't need to bring bubble wrap. We can just put it in the box. It'll be fine. Unless you're concerned about the Alienware. Yeah, Indian Lake Road just got plowed. Just got cleaned up today. I was like shocked when I came down the road earlier today. I was like, huh. But now it's super dusty. So it's really dusty when they just do it and they don't put the chloride down or anything to keep the dust down. We're having rain in Texas. I hate having to mow wet grass. I just used flamethrower torch to kill the grass on the gravel driveway. Oh, yeah. Actually, that's a brilliant idea. I got some of that I gotta deal with. I got a rock driveway that needs a lot of grass killing. And I hate spending money on stupid like chemicals and crap. Usually I just weed whack it down to like nothing and shoot stones across the yard. Sometimes they hit my shin and it hurts. Because I'm weed whacking in shorts and I just don't care. As it's getting out the front seat, and it's getting there you go. Is bid 95 1 week and then 75 the next week here in Vegas. Okay, pretty strange. Oh, it's been 95 and then 70. Yeah, it's because of that weak jet stream, northern jet stream. It's allowing a lot of Arctic cool air to come down south. So that's why you keep feeling that 20-degree drop off. Because you just all of a sudden get a little, it's like somebody opening a freezer door in front of, on top of North America and just letting the freezer air come out down south, you know, and just leaving the freezer door open. Kind of what it feels like. That's exactly what's happening. That jet stream's weakened and it's letting that Arctic air from the northern tip of the globe come down. Not that I'm a weatherman. I'm just my Mrs. in Power is a weather nerd. So get to hear all about it, and I listen, and it's actually been very valuable information. I just educated 17 people on what's going on. 75, 95, yeah, I would take that too over the 20-ish degrees that it's been here earlier this week. It finally, what got up to 65 today, or 68, I think was our high. It was amazing. It's getting thrown in the front seat. I hate autocorrect. Yeah, I got it. Rock salt or flame will do the job. Oh, that's actually good to know. Rock salt. I have never used that before. The problem with using something like rock salt is it would easily get washed away here in Michigan because we always get rain. We get rain almost on a daily basis here. It's not even funny. We get some sort of rain. And if it's not rain, there's just enough dew and moisture that just could create a puddle. I'm not joking. There's enough moisture here. It's always wet. So I feel like if I put rock salt down, it would just wash away. And that's been the problem actually with spraying it with stuff. If I don't pick like a dry week to do it, it doesn't stick long enough to kill all this stuff. So I just wasted all the chemical. And that's why I don't like spending the money on the chemical. I feel like I'm just wasting it half the time. Yeah, I don't prefer to use it either. I usually just weed whack it down. Shoot stones, hit my windshield, crack it, you know, who cares? Roofing torch, wind versus weeds. Yes, that is actually what we were just talking about. Scorpions, for those who need to know. Also versus scorpions. Yeah, I can believe that. You sit there and chase it around. Die, you foul beast! Go back to the depths from which you've came. When it rains in Vegas, it's like a special treat. Yes. Yeah, I've been to Vegas before. It's pretty dry there. ×4 vinegar mixed with dish soap. The soap makes it stick. If it's not going to rain for a couple days, it has to be sunny and dry so it sticks and really soaks into the plant and kills it. Foul beast is an understatement. Yeah, I heard those scorpions like to rat up inside your shoe and wait for you to put your foot in there. Never had that experience, thankfully, but I'm sure if that ever happened to me, I would squeal like a girl. And the shoe would fly. It would probably leave the orbit of Earth. Oh yeah, burn, baby, burn. Air cell can. Lighter. I got this. Don't do that. Don't do that, guys. That's a terrible idea. Our house doesn't have any signs. There's signs for scorpions? Like, what do they, like, leave chicken scratch on the wall or something? And you're like, ah, scorpion. I don't know. I can't. I don't even. I was going to go down the whole scorpion hunter thing. We'll just refrain from that. Dead ones. Oh, okay. That's good. Yeah, I'm glad we don't have those here in Michigan. Ugh. Understood. Well, guys, I am done for the evening. It is now 11:55. It's midnight. I have to get up early tomorrow one more time. I still want to put some hours on this before I go to bed. Try to get it across the finish line so we can make it so he can pick up earlier than later. Because if I don't get it past the finish line tonight, he's not going to be picking up until probably evening tomorrow. So, my friend blew up their hand with the air. Oh yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do the hairspray lighter method. That was a joke. Don't do that. I know you see one scorpion. That means there's a lot more, especially in housing developments. Yes. I have a bunch of wolf spiders around my land. Yeah, so do we. We have a ton of wolf spiders here. I like them. They eat brown recluse. Oh, yeah. They eat all sorts of different bugs. Here, they like to eat everything. They eat pretty much everything. I usually see them, and I leave them alive. I don't, like, squish them or anything. I know they're hunting. Hunting for those other bugs. They generally don't bother anybody. So, alright guys, that's it for me tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We'll kick off another stream some point next week. And with that being said, happy Thursday, almost Friday. It might be Friday where you are already. If so, happy Friday. Have a good weekend. We'll see you on the next one some point next week during the weekdays. Thanks for joining us and watching us build the customer's PC, converting it from a Dell Alienware to a NZXT tower. Have a good night, guys.